Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining Insight Legal for this webinar on advanced legal accounts. My name is Josh Dallywell, and I'm one of two hosts on this call today. I'm kindly joined by my colleague, Deborah Whitkiss, who many of you who are Insight Legal customers will already be familiar with as one of the founders of the company and holds down the dual roles of being both the company's COO, so Chief Operating Officer, and also our Head of Product. Good afternoon, Debs.
Hi, Josh. Thank you for asking me to come join the webinar. Very excited.
Excellent. And I also have I actually also have two of my colleagues, Tara and Gail, who will be monitoring the chat and QA boxes on Zoom for your questions. And a quick reminder, this webinar is being recorded, so we will be making a copy available to everyone who's registered. And you'll get that link as so you'll get that as an email to a link which contains a link to the video on YouTube. I think it's likely to be later today or maybe tomorrow morning that email goes out to everyone. Okay, if this is hang on a second, right, just give me. Right, there we go. That's mine and Deb's contact details as your host today. If this is your first time joining Insight Legal for one of our webinars, there's a page on our website where you can access recordings of our previous sessions. And if you head over to insightlegal.co.uk and click on the community tab on our homepage and then events, you'll see a list of not only of our previous webinars, but also upcoming events as well, including our next webinar, which will be in January on choosing the right software supplier for your law firm. And also keep an eye on your inboxes for more information on that one. Okay, Debs, before we get started, do you want to introduce yourself? I know we have a real mix of clients and non-clients on this webinar, so there may be a fair few who aren't already aware of your extensive role at Insight.
Yeah, no problem at all. So yes, my name is Deborah. I have been with Insight for the last 10 years. And as Josh said, I do have a bit of a dual role in that I'm the COO, but also responsible for the direction of the product that we develop and sell, of course. So my background is in legal accounts, legal finance and practice management. So I did work in practice before moving into legal software about 18 years ago now, so probably more years ago than I should admit to. Yeah, I've delivered many thousands of training courses over the years. In fact, looking at some of the names on this call, I know I've trained some people on here. So yeah, hopefully well placed to be able to talk to you a little bit more about the product, about what we do, and some of the benefits that it can give to law firms as well.
Excellent. And I know we had you on one of our earlier webinars on AML, but I guess kind of since then, we've celebrated our 10th anniversary since then. So quite a milestone.
Yeah, no, that's right. Insight Legal was 10 years old in October of this year. So we've gone from 0 customers to well over 1,000 law firms in that time, and grown our staff numbers as well. And it's quite amazing to see how far the product has come, how much we've developed since then as well. So yeah, exciting times.
Excellent. And again, I think for the benefit of everyone, and I think only about kind of half of you on this call are currently Insight Legal customers. So welcome to everybody who isn't currently an Insight Legal customer. And so I guess in terms of a quick bit of background on us, Insight Legal is a legal software company, and we typically work with practice managers, finance managers, and kind of partners and senior partners in law firms, anywhere really from sole practitioners to businesses of about 150 plus people. And some of the reasons why a law firm will be looking to switch to Insight Legal is because they feel they're not getting the right support from their current software provider, or they think that the fees they're being charged are unfair, or they're afraid of being non-compliant because they're running multiple software systems, and in particular multiple account systems. If that sounds familiar to any of you, then please drop us a line and we'll do our best to help. Okay. Now, what do we have in store for you today? I'm going to start by looking at really kind of what some of the problems are when you don't use automation and integrations on your accounts. And I will be handing over the controls to my colleague Deborah to show you some of the ways Insight Legal Enterprise helps with automating some of your accounts processes. And again, a quick reminder that if you have any questions, please feel free to use the chat or QA functions on the Zoom toolbar, and we'll try and do our best to address those either during or after this session. And again, this webinar is being recorded, but questions submitted aren't being shared with the other audience members, so feel free to ask in confidence. Okay, so really kind of what's the problem? I think that the first problem is repetition, and by repetition I mean the act of repeating something that has already been done. Now, I'm aware some of you on this call, particularly those who are not using Insight for your accounts, may already be doing some repetition where you're using an accounts package that sits outside of your case management, so you're having to repost items on your ledger, or you're running multiple pieces of software for your office and clients' accounts. Now, for those that were on the last webinar that we did on time recording, you will have heard me repeat, as I do so often, that time is money. And what my colleague Debs will be showing you in terms of automation of your bank feeds into Insight Legal for reconciliation and automating postings will also take out some of the menial and repetitive tasks. And that obviously includes data import and transaction matching. And while the obvious benefit of automation is reducing time spent on repetitive tasks, time-based efficiency is only kind of part of the story. And by streamlining and automating data flow, many of the kind of reconciliation steps themselves, you'll also reduce the risk of human error. Hang on a second. You also reduce the risk of human error. So exercising enhanced control over the process by reducing direct user touch points. There is no escaping the fact that bank reconciliations can be costly and a slow process. However, it has been described as a necessary evil that must be done. And unfortunately, bank reconciliation traditionally is a manual process, and people do make mistakes. Now, whether you are subject to audits or aspire to have better visibility across the reconciliation functions, controlled and auditable automation allows you to achieve higher degrees of confidence and integrity in your process. Okay, in short, reconciliation automation tools not only make your process faster, it makes it better. And ultimately, any kind of process should be geared towards making you more productive as an accounts function. Okay, Debs, I'm going to hand over the screen share controls over to you. So do you want to go and
Sure, thank you very much. Okay, so just need to stop you from screen sharing there, Josh, hopefully.
There we go.
Lovely, thank you. Right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the Insight Legal accounting functions. Not all of them, by no means all of them. We have so many accounting functions. Those of you who are Insight Legal customers, in fact, some of you who are maybe not, will know that we are the very, very proud recipients of the Institute of Legal Finance and Management Software Award, and in fact have been for 5 years. So we have a lot of accounting functions. We're very proud of the way they work. I'm certainly not going to show you all of them. We would be here all day, but I'm going to focus on three areas in particular. Starting with something that, when it was in our development phase, was affectionately known as bank magic. And I hope that as I'm able to demonstrate this to you, you'll see why we called it that. So what we're going to be looking at, if I can work, there we go, if I can work the screen sharing properly, what we're going to be looking at is linking your Insight Legal system directly to your firm's bank accounts. There are two parts to this: bank feed integration for the purposes of reconciliation, and also using those bank feed transactions for a function which we call auto posting. We're going to start with the reconciliation. So the first thing that any firm needs to do to link their chosen bank accounts with Insight is an initial sign-up process that's done entirely through our software. So it is an integration, but it's all very much managed through Insight. So it's an integration with our partner Friendly Score. All you do, you register with them. It's as simple as giving them your email address, and you choose your banks, and then you link them to your Insight cash books. Really, really straightforward, can be done in a few minutes. And that's it. When you go to reconcile your banks the following day, you'll be able to import your statement transactions directly from your bank. So how does your bank rec work from there? And why is this any easier or more efficient than a traditional bank reconciliation? So when you're reconciling your bank using traditional methods, as Josh said, your accounting system shows you the transactions that you've posted, and then your job is manual matching or ticking off, a process between what's on your screen and what's on your bank statement. You're not linking transactions to anywhere or pairing them up as such, you're just ticking them off. With your bank being connected with your bank being connected to your Insight system, your Insight screen will now have both your system and your statement transactions displayed. It's a bit of a small screenshot, but hopefully you can tell. And what I'm very much hoping as well is that any of you who have some interest in this will let us give you a bit of a bespoke demonstration so we can take you through it properly. But what you'll see here is that you've got both sides of the transactions on your screen, and all you need now to do is match them up. You've got a number of ways to do that as well. The simplest and the most frequently used is to drag and drop. You can do this by either dragging a statement transaction down to the bottom of the screen and dropping it onto a system transaction, or vice versa, by taking a posting transaction and dragging and dropping it onto a statement entry. Of course, if you've got multiple amounts that make up your posting, then this can be done multiple times. We've got a little chain symbol at the side of each transaction. It just shows you that the transaction has been linked, and it can be unlinked from there too, just in case you don't get it right first time. So the reconciliation process is immediately made easier. You've got all your transactions in one place, and there can be no problems, no issues with something being misread perhaps, or something being double counted. Another great advantage is that you're able to see what each and every transaction is reconciled against. You just hover your mouse over an item, and Insight will highlight for you in the other half of the screen what your transaction has been reconciled against. Now, we all know how crucial your reconciliations are, not just for your own peace of mind, but for compliance reasons as well. So in my opinion, absolutely anything you can do to make the process quicker, easier and more efficient is an absolute advantage. And speaking as a really geeky former cashier as well, I love a bank rec. I think loads of us love a bank rec.
Yeah, just quickly, what would you, so obviously, I guess we get the opportunity to demo a lot of these kind of, I guess, automation processes to finance managers and cashiers, across lots of different law firms. I guess what would you say to somebody who, I guess, has done this in a certain way, and they've done it that way for years, if not decades? And I think certainly in some legal, I guess, accounts functions, there seems to be kind of a mistrust of anything other than a calculator as far as kind of technology is concerned.
Oh, it's a good job we're not in the same room, Josh, I tell you. No, it is about making your life easier. We have so many rules and regulations, so many areas of compliance that we have to be cognizant of, and it's just about saving time. There is so much work that needs to be done, and it's got to be efficient as well. As amazing as any legal cashier might be, figures sometimes get transposed. Things are sometimes too difficult to match up. You've got lots of complex postings that have been done, and you've got to try and make sense of. And we know in any accounts office you have a million interruptions. So anything that can make you get this done quicker, more efficiently, that you draw that line, move on with your day's work, yeah, this is not taking anything away from the role, it's just making it more straightforward.
Sure. Excellent.
So I would like to move on to auto postings. Now, auto postings, for anyone who's as much of a control freak about their accounts as me, probably sounds terrifying. So just go on and explain a little bit about what we mean by auto postings. So the typical way for a legal cashier to enter transactions would be to go to a ledger or to a batch screen and enter the details of a posting. So I've just got a fairly standard Insight posting screen on the screen there, just very very plain, with no details in there. So the details that you're required to put in include things like the date, a transaction reference, a description, payee, and of course the amount. So none of those things were a problem, but it's just potentially time consuming to put them all in. So with Insight's auto posting feature, what users do is to select a transaction from their statement. So you remember the screen I was on previously where you've got your list of imported transactions. So you select a transaction, you select a posting type, box over on the right hand side there, and then it takes you to a posting window with all the relevant details already filled in. Now, of course, apart from the amount and the bank account, users do still have control over any of those details if they want to change them. But the point here is that so much time can be saved on that manual input. All you have to do is to select the matter or the nominal ledger for the posting to go to, and then the postings can be reviewed or edited or removed before committing them, of course. So as you can see, a huge time saver already, as we've not had to enter the details of that posting. But not only that, because we're taking these transactions directly from the statement, we know they've already gone through the bank. So that reconciliation process is completed at the same time. Not only are we also posting these transactions, we're reconciling them too. And finally, after completing your reconciliation and any postings that you go with it, you're provided with the full report. So it's your full reconciliation report, and that gives you an audit trail of those postings that go with it as well. So many steps all incorporated in one, which is why we called it Bank Magic. And then the next exciting function, which I wanted to talk to you about, payment links. I love this one. I love payment links. I really wish we'd had this when I was a cashier. So payment links, what this is, a great feature. It enables you to put a clickable link into a bill, to an invoice or another document that you might send out. And then it enables a client to pay you, say client or whoever's paying the bill, enables them to pay you by credit or debit card just by clicking on the link. So it works by way of an integration between Insight and a company called Blink. Are one of the largest online payment providers worldwide. So the beauty of this is that it works so simply. You have a field code that can be put into your invoice templates. You see it circled in red there. So that link goes into the document itself, so into the template, so it doesn't even need to be done each time. And that link is pre-programmed with the details of the invoice or the amount that needs paying. So the amount, the bank account that it goes into, and the matter that the payment relates to as well. So the recipient clicks on the link and it takes them to the Blink payment portal, which looks like this, and they enter their card details and make the payment. So that means, of course, that you can take payments at any time of the day or night, rather than what those of you who take card payments at the moment probably have to do, taking up the time of someone in the accounts team to take the payment over the phone during office hours, which can be difficult for clients, of course, to be available during office hours to pay them. But there's so many other benefits to these payment links as well. Put some of them up on the screen there. There's a lot to read. You can, when you get the recording back, you can pause this and have a look, or we'll talk to you about it, of course. But the main key points. For firms that don't currently take payment by debit or credit card, it means that you can do that without having the cost of running a merchant terminal. So there are some fees that go with it, but it's small transaction fees when you use your credit card stuff, not the merchant terminal fees. From a compliance point of view, you've got that reassurance that clients are going to pay the correct amount. That, of course, reduces the risk of accounts rules breaches, like an overpayment into office account perhaps, but it also saves all the administrative time in chasing up the underpayments as well. Nothing more frustrating than chasing up an underpayment of a few pounds or a few pence just because somebody's got it wrong. But using a payment link also ensures the money goes into the correct bank account. We all know the warnings that get issued regularly about making sure you're using the correct bank details, making sure that nothing gets intercepted. But this just makes sure that the monies go into the correct bank account. So you've immediately got a reduced risk of financial fraud there as well. And a personal favourite one of mine, you know immediately which matter the payment is in relation to. When you get monies paid directly into your bank account, it's always frustrating, as somebody quoted the right reference, to know which invoice it's in relation to. So yeah, no more having to chase around the office and chase up fee earners to go through any files to see which matter the transaction relates to. So lots of benefits there. Lots more I could talk to you about Insight Legal Accounting, but we've just picked 3 of the functions just to talk to you about today, to hopefully highlight some of the advanced functions that we have. Really coming back to what you said, Josh, about avoiding repetition, streamlining the workload and minimising risk as well.
Excellent. And I kind of think that kind of this most recent one, the payment links, I think it really kind of addresses, I think, one of my key gripes or frustrations as a customer is, often or too often you receive an invoice for payment over an email, and I'm checking my personal emails in the evening, and then there's a little note on it that says, please call us to make a payment. I'm like, seriously? I want to address this here and now. I'm sitting here, I've got my credit or debit card on me. I want to be able to make payment now and just get this resolved. And no, I have to wait until 9:30 and then I have to wait on hold to pay somebody.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, it's a benefit for the client. It means the client will pay the bill quicker as well, and so for the firm, your cash flow is improved as well. So many benefits.
Exactly. Excellent. Great. Okay. Just while you've been talking, we've had a few questions that have been posted, and I think a couple of these are, I guess, are related. I guess one is, we currently use Insight Legal. How much of this do we currently have access to? And we've also had somebody ask whether this is an enterprise feature. And I think to the anonymous person posting about whether this is an enterprise feature, yes, it is. And again, the person asking how much of this do we currently have access to? I guess, yeah, if you drop us an email, either directly to myself or to the webinar team, we can check as to whether you are currently on an enterprise or standard package. We'll be able to look at that on our systems to see what you already have access to. Another question I have here, which is, how long does it take to get auto bank recs set up? I don't know if you want to take that one, Debs.
Yeah, of course, yes. So, once you've registered, it just takes until the following day. So at midnight on the day that you register, it becomes active and it starts importing your transactions. So you can use it from the following day. Yeah, we recommend a very small amount of training, but just something with our support team, half an hour maybe, just to sort of show you how to work it, and putting in a couple of system settings. So just your account details set in. So yeah, within an hour you can be up and running.
Fantastic. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of other questions come through. The first one of these I'm going to look at is, does the bank feed option work with Metro Bank? I don't know if you know that one off the top of your head.
Oh, good question. We do have a whole list of the integration partners. So I don't know off the top of my head. I want to say yes, because I'm fairly sure I've seen their logo, but yeah, certainly check that for you. We've not come across banks yet that are not available, but yeah, it doesn't mean they all are, but we will certainly check that one.
Yeah, and I guess I guess to the anonymous attendee asking that question, if you want to drop an email through to the webinars@insightlegal.co.uk email address, or you can drop us an email through to our support team. We'll be more than happy to take just to make sure that we do support Metro Bank as well. We've got a question here. Can you split payments, i.e. travel expenses that need posting to multiple ledgers?
Yes, you certainly can. Yes, so both in fact in terms of the reconciliation and also the auto posting, you can even split payments between it. So if some of the things have already been posted and that doesn't match up to the total amount of the item that you're reconciling against, you'll be able to post the remainder of the item. So yeah, you can reconcile multiple items against a single bank transaction, or or vice versa. It's really quite flexible.
And I think I know the answer to this next question, but I'll run it by you. Could the payment link function be used outside of bills on other documents, so money on accounts, deposit, etc.? So I guess any kind of.
Yes, So the payment URL that we put in, that's available through your matter document definitions and also through the bill document definition. So it can be dropped into either. You can also even use it in things like completion statements. So our enterprise feature of completion statements, you can even put the payment on there. It's again very, very flexible. One of the other things I should mention on the payment links, which I was really pleased to see when we first started talking to Blink about the integrations, it just shows they've really thought about this for legal accounts, not just for typical general accounts. So you can designate which bank account you want the payment to come into, but then any charges which are associated get charged separately to the office account. So you can have the payment coming directly into your client account, the whole amount gets credited there, and then payments are dealt with separately over on office account. So yeah, really has been thought through for legal accounting.
And I know this last question is from a current customer of ours. It says, how do they link if no reference for Insight is quoted in the bank? And I'm guessing each unique is linked, right? So yeah, of course.
Yeah, so I'm guessing that question is actually related to the reconciliation, the auto postings and so on, as opposed to the payment links.
Okay.
So if no reference has been quoted, which sometimes it's not, of course, then the posting is still there. You just need to select the matter reference yourself. You'll need to enter that yourself if that's not been quoted. But so those things are there for the user to amend or to add to. So if somebody's quoted a reference which is not what you want your posting to have attached when it appears on the ledger, you change it. That's no problem at all. It's still under the cashier's control, which is what we like, how it should be.
Excellent. And that's all the kind of the questions that we have time for on this live call. And again, that doesn't mean you can't continue to send your questions through to us. Just direct them either directly through to myself or Debs, or to webinars@insightlegal.co.uk, and we can both pick those up. We will, as I mentioned earlier, be sharing a copy of the video recording of this, so keep an eye out for that link. Anyone watching this as a live session or recording, and you'd like any more information on any of the features that have been shown on this live session today, and you'd like a enterprise demo of Insight Legal, then please feel free again to get in touch with either one of us directly or on the webinar's email address. Also, a quick reminder, in our next webinar, we'll be looking at choosing the right software supplier for your law firm. And if you're currently an Insight Legal client, you can choose to sit that one out. Okay. If you'd like to receive more information, yes, again, please feel free to drop us an email. I want to thank my fellow panelists, Debs, and also my colleagues, Gail and Tara, for keeping an eye on your questions, and also for participating in this webinar. So please enjoy the rest of your day. And if I don't speak to you before, have a wonderful Christmas. Take care, everyone.